going to pull one more. Okay, so I think there was a bit of a delay and we are just live now. So I could see that we weren't live and I had Anne messaging me. So for everybody that's just switched on, welcome to the Weekly Oracle Wisdom. My name is Natalie. For those of you that are joining me for the first time, we are going to have a look at what the Oracle cards have to tell us for the week ahead. And for those of you that have missed it, I mean, we're just over halfway through January. There is a January reading, which is up on my YouTube channel. There is also the 2026 yearly reading that I did at the very end of 2025. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see the links below. And yeah, I hope everyone's doing okay with this astrology. I was just saying before the live button was hit that we're in these final degrees with Neptune and Saturn. I'm not 100% sure yet if Neptune has moved into Aries. I feel like that's happening today or has happened already. And Saturn, they've been conjuncting my Mars. It's been really rough. I've been so fatigued, and then I've had Saturn squaring my moon. So I'm ready for all of this energy to shift, which happens on February 14th. So I don't know how everybody else is doing, but let's have a look at the cards that have come out. So first of all, we have online, being active on social media, strong media presence, influencer, emails, online dating, and online business. Then we have the death card, inevitable end, big transformation, shedding required, dead end. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know I love the death card. Third party, others interfering in your business, possible love triangle, too many people involved, someone is watching you. Then we have the passion card, lustful desires, sexual connection with someone, new passions in life, active sex life. And then we have toxicity, toxic situations or people. It's time to purge, having a toxic mindset, dead end relationships. So look, clearly there's something about being online this week, whether it be business. I'm not sure if you're launching something, if as January is kind of, you know, we're getting into the flow of things happening. People are starting to rethink how they're approaching their business or how they're going to market themselves, their brand, all of that. It's clearly a significant factor this week. I know for me, there's some equipment that I've been talking about getting so that I can just up the level, the quality of my interviews. And so I've already sort of started that process. So there is going to be something around that online this week. Then we have the death card, inevitable end, big transformation, shedding required, dead end. I'm being told that down in Orange County there was just an earthquake. We didn't feel anything up here in Los Angeles. So hope that everybody's okay. So with the death card, inevitable end, big transformation, shedding required, dead end. I love this card because to me it means that things are shifting, things are moving. And I understand that we hear death as a negative word. It has a negative connotation because it means loss. But the reality is there are things in life that we often hang on to that aren't serving us anymore. And so when this death card comes up, it does mean that those things will fall away. And sometimes the end of something can be incredibly difficult, but it always happens for our highest good. And we have to remember that letting go of these things is often really good for us. And it also doesn't need to mean that something's coming to an end, but it can mean that there is transformation coming in. And I mean, I started this reading talking about how we've got Saturn and Neptune, or have had Saturn and Neptune at these final degrees of Pisces. And I mean, I'm an Aries sun, And we have both of these planets conjuncting in Aries at 0 degrees. And then we're going to have, Pisces, Neptune in there for, I think it's like 19 years. And then we're going to have Saturn in Aries for about 3 years. So I understand that there are going to be challenges with that. And they're going to conjunct my sun, and I have to deal with all of this. But at the same time, compared to this end of degrees Pisces energy that we've been dealing with, I am so ready for that transformation. So think of it as a good thing. I mean, the other thing is dead end. Sometimes those dead ends will redirect us. And I think sometimes when that redirection happens, it puts us on a whole new path, even if we're moving towards the same goal, but it gives us a place to move forward to. And then there's the shedding of who we used to be, stepping into our own and really becoming who it is we're meant to become. So step into that and embrace it. This third party card, others interfering in your business. We always think of third party as we generally go to the place of it's a relationship thing. And the reality is if the energies for you this week revolve around relationships, then yeah, there's the possibility that there could be somebody else involved. Does it mean that somebody's having an affair? Not necessarily. It could be that there's just somebody inserting themselves into your relationship, offering their opinion or just causing disharmony. So pay attention to that. But it very much could just be that there is somebody getting involved in your business. Like perhaps you're looking at reinventing your online presence. You're going, okay, I'm going to change how I do this. I'm going to change the approach of how I'm marketing myself, how I'm marketing my business, because what I've been doing isn't working. And you've got somebody in your ear telling you that you're wrong or imposing their opinions on you. So pay attention to that and pay attention to whether or not the energy and the feedback and everything else that is being offered to you is wanted or not. And if it's not, then maybe there's a conversation there that you need to have. Could just be that there's too many people inserting themselves into whatever it is you're doing. And if that's the case, are you inviting it in by having conversations with people and asking for too many opinions? Because we are all guilty of doing that at different times in our lives. So then we have passion, lustful desires, sexual connection with someone, new passion in life, active sex life. So this whole third party thing, I mean, are you the third party? Is there something that you don't know? I feel like there is going to be something around relationships this week. I mean, we've had enough sort of popping up. So these lustful desires, sexual connection, it's going to be something that it can be heart related, but I feel like it's more lustful. It's more of the flesh this week. So enjoy those pleasures enjoy those pleasures. If that's what's being offered to you this week, indulge and enjoy and get lost in it. I'm a big proponent of enjoying the sins of the flesh. I think it's important. I think it's what makes us feel connected to other human beings. So if that's coming up, but again, going back to the very first card that we had come up, which is online, it could be new passions in life. So you're really excited about what it is you're creating and getting really into that. And if it is, I think that's fantastic. Then we have the toxicity card, toxic situations and people. It's time to purge, having a toxic mindset, dead end relationship. So here's the thing. I feel like all of this could go in a few different ways. The toxicity card is coming out. We have the third party card coming out. So if you have these people that you're not wanting their opinion, you're not wanting their feedback, and it's becoming toxic, this is something that you need to look at. And this is where the death card comes in. As far as the passion and the lust and all of those desires being met, as I've already stated, I am a big supporter of enjoying our bodies and sexual connection and all of that in a way that makes you feel happy, safe, comfortable, and connected, whatever that looks like. But at the same time, are you indulging in that in a situation that is toxic? And again, if you're having that realization, perhaps this is where you realize that this is a dead end situation, because if that is playing out in a toxic way, if it's not feeding your soul in the good way, then it's not serving you. It might serve you in the brief moment where you're getting the endorphin rush and the dopamine hit and you're feeling really good, but then the situation is playing out in a way that doesn't work for you. That's something that you need to pay attention to. So I think this is really relevant to work and relationships. While I was shuffling, I had 3 other cards that jumped out. We've got the World card, completion of a major milestone, fulfillment, time and success, broadening your horizons, end of a journey. So I feel like there is a big focus on the end of something this week. There is something that is coming to an end. And I always say this, that the end of something means that there is something new coming in, something that is going to serve you in a really great way. So feel the feelings of whatever it is that's ending, because then it allows other things to come in. And sometimes the end of a journey is that completion. So there's someone in my life that I know that talks about past relationships or certain situations, and they say, I was complete. I was complete with that. It's not that there's anything bad to say about the situation or the other person or anything like that, but we were complete. We had run, or we'd completed the journey that we were meant to have here on earth. So it could be completion of a work thing, because I do think there is something work related, because that's what I get when I look at online. I don't necessarily think that it's so much about our own personal stuff, although if you're an influencer, maybe that whole personal thing is it. But it's and if it's completion of a milestone, there's success and there's celebration with it. But if it's completion in terms of, right, it's time to move on to something else, then we have to pay attention to that. Then we have key, opening doors to a better future, access to what was hidden, finding solutions, access to previous closed doors. So this card is coming out later in the reading, because it's only when things end and there is room for new things to come in that we get given those keys, and we get given the access to the things that were hidden, to the things that were closed off to us before. And so the World, key, and then this last card that I'm about to show you all came out together when I was shuffling, and that was the complete sort of reading for what we have. And so the last card is the Devil, another one of my favorites. Addiction, problems or excess, obsession, dependency, materialism, bad financial habits, and shadow self. So I think there's a big element of light and dark in this reading. And I don't mean dark as in bad, but dark as in shadow. So we're having these moments that are bringing light in. We are stepping forward online. We're finding new ways to approach the things that in relation to work and how we're presenting and what we're creating in this world, while dealing with excess noise from the periphery, which is never great. And then we have these these lustful moments that are sort of going to feed us and make us feel good. The question is whether these are healthy ways that we're feeding that, or whether it's a toxic cycle that we're in. And I think these endings that we have coming in, it can be completion in a really great way, completing a cycle. The dead end, to me, even though it sounds horrible, is a really good thing, because then we know we have to move in a different direction, and we can still aim for that goal, but shift how we're approaching it. And then we have the completely surrendering and letting go of these things that aren't serving us. And in doing that, we have access to things that have been hidden or closed to us up until this moment. And I think that is the payoff with all of this. And I think that's the great thing. Now, in amongst all of this, again, going back to the passion and the toxicity card, we have the devil card in terms of addiction problems and excess and obsession and dependency. So this is where there is toxicity. But if we focus on the shadow self and we're doing that work, then we end up in, even though you go to the dark, you end up where the light is being shone on everything. So I think this is a week of, I'll say, extremes in what we're sort of being shown and what's being given to us. And I like those extremes when we have the focus on work, but then we have this personal sort of fulfillment that's being met. So just do your best to make sure that all of this is healthy and serving you. So then we're using the Mystic Forest Oracle cards. Okay, hang on. I'm going to pull. Okay. I was pulling 3, but apparently I'm pulling 5. Okay, so the first 2 out are wild and wonderful. I feel like that's actually a fair description of what this reading has been. Why focus on limitations and realism? Breakthroughs and miracles require no linear explanation or method. Unexplainable and illogical magic happens every day. So this is the whole thing. When we have cards that come out and it can look like it's all a bit scattered, and like I said, I feel like this is a reading of extremes, but wild and wonderful is the perfect description, and it doesn't need to work in a linear way. So you have to let this week play out. Indulge in the things that are serving you, that are bringing you joy, while focusing on these other things. And if that involves releasing things, situations, people from your life along the way, well, that's fine. You'll get the payoff after all that's done. Then we have heart path. It's not worth pursuing a path without passion. This road will only lead you to uncertainty and frustration. Follow your heart and you can't go wrong. So this works in both directions, where I think this reading has been focused. It works in terms of work and online and what it is you're working towards and trying to achieve. So if you feel that this is the direction you need to move in, and this is what your soul's been telling you for a little while, and you're getting that nudge where now it's time to go, it's time to go, it's time to go, go do that. Because when we're working every day and it's this, like I don't want to get up 9 to 5 and do that every day of the week. So what else can I do? And if you've been quietly working on something and building it to get to this point where you can launch, great, go forth and do that. If the lustful desires and the passion card is leading you to a person that maybe your friends don't like, but this works for you, go do it, providing it does actually work and it is healthy. I have had people in my life that haven't understood the relationships I was in, but you know what? Those relationships took care of me. They fed my soul. They met me where I needed to be met at that moment in time. And that's all you can ask for. So follow your heart, do what's right for you. And that excess noise coming from other people, don't listen to it. So then we have embodiment. Now is the time to make your mark in the world. You decide what feels right to you, embody your leadership powers, and create your world out of your deepest desires. So that's confirmation of everything that I just talked about. So I'm not even going to bother expanding on that. We have raised the bar. When you set higher standards for the people and situations in your life, you create space for new levels of joy and abundance. Rise above old patterns. So this is it. This is that moment where we are deciding what we want and we are moving towards that. And this is what this week is. This is why we're having the death card and the toxicity card and the devil card, because these are the moments where we're tested. Are you going to stay where it's comfortable and in the place that you know just because it's safe? Or are you going to chase after the things that set your soul on fire, whether that is a person, a job, a career that you want to build? And maybe it's not time to give up the 9 to 5 to go chasing that goal, but maybe it is time to start on the path of creating that foundation. Many years ago, a girlfriend of mine who was a studio manager at a studio that I shot in every week, and we were talking about life, and I was talking about my life, and she said, how have you created this life where you don't have to be up for the most part at an ungodly hour and at a job at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m.? And I said, listen, I will turn up to a job at a 5 a.m. call or a 6 a.m. call if that's what I need to do, because I love what I do. At the same time, all my regular clients, some of them wanted me to be there at 8 a.m. at my scheduled time every week. And I was like, listen, I can do that. I might be late. I'm not going to be at my best. Like, could we do it at 10? And they were like, sure, we can do it at 10 as long as we've got a regular time. And so I scheduled my life that way. And so there was give and take, that when my clients needed me there at an earlier hour, I would always show up and I would give my all. But I also created it so my life flowed in a way that really worked for me. 9 months later, this girlfriend calls me. She goes, I've done it. And I said, what have you done? And she said, I took a leaf out of your book and I just quit my job. And she said, I didn't want to do the 9 to 5 anymore. And so for the last 9 months, I've been studying to be a private detective. I got licensed and I've just launched my own business. And now I'm doing my own hours. I can pick the jobs that I want to work and leave the jobs that I don't. And I can do this and I can do that. And, there is this moment and there is a path to get to these things. And like I said, there's give and take with anything, but if that's what you want to create, so figure out how to create it and then go about it. And to the person messaging me saying, what about if we've already left our 9 to 5? It's about focusing on what it is you can change. The online presence this week is huge. So focus on what it is you can shift to get a better result and to work this to your advantage and shift what's happening. So there's room for growth. Then the final card from the Mystic Forest Oracle is remember who you are. You carry stardust in your bones, your ancestors' wisdom in your blood, and the whole universe in your soul. Know yourself and nothing will bring you down. So I feel like this embodiment card and the remember who you are both confirmation cards that this is about knowing what is going to serve you, what it is you came here to do, and honoring that. And let me just say, I understand that to create a life that is completely designed by you is not an easy task. I know this because I've done it, and I know it because I've watched plenty of my girlfriends do the same thing. What I'll say is when it's your soul's calling and your heart's calling, it is possible, but you have to be dedicated to it. You can't sit on your ass and go, okay, yeah, this is just going to work out and I'm manifesting, but sitting there doing nothing. You have to show the universe that you're serious, and there has to be work, and the universe will reward you, and the wins will be small at first, but they'll grow and momentum builds and it all figures itself out as long as you're being true to who you are. So we're finishing off with the Divine Masters Oracle. This is Kyle Gray. I've got one card that's already jumped out. I just feel like I need to pick one more. Okay, I think that's it. I don't even know how to pronounce that one. Okay, so we start off with Bridget, Inner Fire. Let your passion lead you to your purpose. So tell me there's not a theme to this reading. It is all about what your passion is, what your soul is telling you you need to be doing this week. And that is what is meant to be leading you. So listen to that desire, listen to what your heart is telling you, because that's exactly what and who you need to be listening to this week. Then the final card, Vajrayogini, I'm positive I have pronounced this incorrectly, Transcending Fear. Facing fears leads to fearlessness. Embrace your power. So in chasing your inner fire and in listening to that, we are all going to come up against fear. It is a natural response because it's often going against everything that we have been taught. And there is a book that I'm about to read. It's called Dumbing Us Down. It's about the education system in America and how decades ago it was set up to create workers rather than entrepreneurs and free thinkers. And so to start chasing your desires, to start doing the things that set your soul on fire goes against everything that we have been taught. We are taught to go to school, then go to college, and then go and get a job and work 9 to 5 and work for the next 40 or 50 years before finally retiring and enjoying. But for most people, they have a job, not a career, in terms of they go to a job every day that they love. And it's the brave few that go out on their own, and despite people telling them no and this will never work and you'll never be successful, them going out and creating the thing that they know is what they're meant to be doing, that they end up successful and they end up changing their world. And it doesn't need to be on a global scale. It could just be, I want to do this and this is how I'm going to earn my money to survive and live the life that I want, and I want something quite simple. Amazing. Go forth and do that. It could be something that changes the way the world functions. Even better. The point is, don't let fear win. Don't listen to all the voices that are telling you you can't do it, because often it's them that couldn't or were too afraid. And if fear kicks in, do it anyway. When Anne and I do Gemini Rising, we always ask all of our guests at the end of their first episode with us the same 4 questions. And one of them is, what's your best advice on how to transcend fear? And if you were to summarize all the answers, it essentially says, do it anyway. So I will leave you with that this week. If you are fearful stepping into the calling of your soul and fearful of letting go of something that you know isn't serving you, do it anyway. Do it anyway this week. Be brave. I hope that this reading resonated with some of you, if not all of you. Thank you to all of you who joined me for the live. Sorry for the little mishap at the beginning. And yeah, have a wonderful week. I will be back next Monday for next week's Weekly Oracle Wisdom. I can't wait to see you all then. And as always, thank you, Anne, for the thumbnail and helping me with the live. I appreciate you beyond words.